Hello, everybody. So I was praying this morning, and with all the craziness going on in the world this morning, I was doing a lot of reading and praying and just thinking about all that is going on around us. And, again, that is what you and I are called to do. I mentioned that last week. All of us are called to pray and to be people of faith because without you and I, the world doesn't stand a chance. And what really struck me was what I read this morning by Pope Saint Pope. Sorry, I'm not saying it well. Saint Pope John Paul II. He said at a World Youth Day, "Holy people alone can renew humanity." So it's people like you and me that are called to be holy, that are called to pray. I can't say this strongly enough for myself and for anybody who's willing to listen that that is our job. You and I have been called since the moment of our birth to be holy. That's what God created us for. Think about it. You and I were created in the likeness and image of God Himself. Now, most of the time, I maybe don't act like that, but I'm supposed to. And it's not an accident. It's what we were created to be. And we know in the incarnation, which is God becoming a human like you and I in Jesus, that's why Jesus came to save us from ourselves, from the craziness in this world, the destruction of bad choice, of broken vows, of all that went into the fall of humanity, right? You and I are called to choose differently. And the only way that you and I can do this is with the grace of God. How do we receive God's grace? Total gift. And the best way that we receive it are the sacraments. That's why we were baptized. That's why we were confirmed. It's why we receive Eucharist. It's why we go to confession. All of that is grace-giving activity. And as simple as it may sound, it's the road for you and I to become what God created us to be. So another way to look at this is to read the Gospels. You and I need to do the will of God Himself. In the Gospel yesterday, it was startling. Um, Jesus Himself says, "Not everyone who says, 'Lord, Lord,' is going to enter heaven." It's like, wait, what? And Jesus, in His own words, says, "Only the people that follow and do the will of my Father will go to heaven." Well, you and I know what that is. It is loving God with all our strength, with all our soul, with all our mind. I'm not quoting the scripture well, but you know what it is. I love God with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my strength, with all my might. And I will love my neighbors as myself. The two greatest commandments that you and I have been given, that is how you and I become Christ-like. That is how you and I bring Christ-like grace into this world by being a source of it for the people that we live with, that we live around, that we deal with, that we interact with, that we help, that we love. So it's a big task. I think we're up for it. What do you think? So we have a lot going on. Father Bill is still on vacation. Father Anthony, it's his last weekend at Holy Trinity, so come and say goodbye. Actually, it's bon voyage. He'll be very close, so it won't be our last time of seeing Father Anthony. And we have a new priest, Father Dominic, coming next week. Thanks be to God for what would it be? Exciting things, good things. Anyway, I'll see you at Mass, and go out and be holy. Thanks be to God.